Hey everyone, Jason at the Portland Fly Shop here for the long form of the YouTube channel, otherwise known as old Whitebeard here, telling you how it's going to be. Let's see here. Deschutes River steelhead, top of mind, top of conversation, kind of everything's revolving around the Deschutes right now. It has been fair, and it all depends on who you talk to. We're getting dismal reports, and then 20 minutes later, somebody comes in the shop and gives us their epic report. So I hate to say it, and I don't want to be like mean to new people out there at all. I don't want to encourage you. The only way to get really good is to go a lot, but it really comes down to who's holding the rod, honestly, and how hard you're willing to work and how much you're willing to move your feet. And this is what I mean. If you take Wagon Blast, right, on the Deschutes River, one of the most popular, famous steelhead runs in all of Deschutesdom. It could be like today, Thursday, and Thursday there just could not be fish there. But a quarter of a mile, above Wagon Blast, there could be a pod of 6 to 8 fish. And you will never know that. You will never know you were like a corner away from hooking 2 steelhead if you just don't get there, all right? So if you suck at casting, or whatever, we see it all the time. Stop making like 5 casts to get your one good cast and then move on. I don't care if your cast sucks. That's what men's are for. Work on your casting on the next cast, right? But don't make like 5 bad casts to get your one good cast and then take your step. Move through water, cover as much water as you possibly can in the span of a day, and show that fly to as many fish as possible. We're talking like a percentage of steelhead are aggressive enough to come up out of the water column and take your fly. 99% of the time, even if you're on a tip, you're up in the water column, just physics alone. And so to get that ratio in your favor, you're gonna be casting a lot, but you need to move a lot to show that fly to as many possible fish as possible, okay? Bigger flies have been working better this year. Bigger flies on tips, prom dresses, tube intruder, or not tube intruders, but marabou tubes. Even bright colors have been working this year, oranges, stuff like that. So think out of the box. You can pretty much assume that the person in front of you, if they just left the pool, is going to be fishing black and blue or purple. So maybe think about that and change to orange or something like that. Maybe go a little bigger, but don't just show the same freight train to the fish that the person that just left before you showed them, right? So think outside the box a little bit, and you will find fish. For the person that wants to jam and get after it and work for it, you're gonna find fish, and that's the trend we've been seeing. And not just, we've had a lot of people, 3 to 5 fish a day, it's not like they're scratching all day for one. Like the people that are catching them are doing pretty damn well. So that's that. Let's see, let's move over to the click. A lot of talk about the Klickitat. So it's starting to shape up. This cooler weather is gonna help. The rain may puke it out a little bit, but we are getting in mode now to really start thinking about the Klickitat. It's going to be busy this year. There's a ton of fish in between Bonneville and the Dells, like 60,000 fish or something like that. The Klickitat is one of the main drainages, that's going to be in that zone. And every year that river's been getting busier and busier. It's a tough river to fish if you're not familiar with it. But just bring your patience. There are some amazing fish in that river, but it does get loved, and it gets loved a lot. So if you go to the Klickitat to fish, it's not some secret little hidden gem that it used to be. Lots of people know about the Klickitat, and you won't be alone. So, do what you need to do as far as switching it up there. The major difference on the Click from the Deschutes is you can fish from a boat on the Klickitat, and tons of conventional anglers fishing from the boat, tons of people fishing beads and stuff like that. So if you're swinging flies, get up super early, get below the put-ins, and really try to get first water on that river. That's going to make a huge difference. Or after the flotilla goes by, go above them, and fish water that's been rested for a few hours in low light and good light, So those are the ways you kind of get around the crowds on that river. I expect there to be a really good return on that river, but I expect there to be quite a few people. Locally, steelhead's been pretty darn good, and some of the rivers around here, as you've probably seen in our posts, like we've been kicking some ass. I would say the Cowlitz is probably about wrapped up. That's an earlier return river, but the Lewis is staying strong. You know, we're probably moving over to salmon now in the cowlets, and we'll get to salmon in a second. But you know, this next shot of rain, depending on how much we get, you know, the clackamas is actually a pretty good October option. You know, it does get this late fall push of fish, provided we have water for them to swim in. So look for that. It's not just going to be silvers. There will be a late push of steelhead on rivers like the clackamas, you know, probably the sandy, depending on the clarity on the sandy, but they do get that fall push of fish. So look out for that. Now, salmon. There's Chinook everywhere, all right? Make sure to try not to walk through reds and all that. You can see them, the big bright spots in the river. It's really important right now to be red aware. But there are some bright Chinook around, honestly. We've hooked a few this year. Nick, you know, was probably the only, well, in our adventures, Nick was the only one that actually could land his because I blew all mine, but, you know, that's typical. But there's some nice bright Chinook around. I would really start looking for Chinook on the coast here, especially once we get some rain, for people that want to fish them, you know, Alcee, Silettes. You know, those are great options to strip flies for fall Chinook, late season especially. And then silvers. We've seen packs of silvers already. It's low, it's clear. I don't know of any fish that hates the sun more than silver salmon. But that's about to change. I expect there to be major silver pushes here coming up soon. They're around right now. We'll see them roll. They're in the cowlets. They're in the clackamas. They're around, but the weather's just not silver fishing weather at the moment. But I expect, you know, Monday, Tuesday to be probably decent silver days. You're gonna want to get up early, you know, and strip your flies for them. Swinging can work. Does work sometimes. If you strip leeches, like pink leeches on a sink tip, we're talking about setting the hook multiple times a day versus once a day, all right? So there's that. Now, moving over to trout. Sea run cutthroat fishing is here. It's going, it's happening. There's some really nice sea runs being caught on the coast, Wilson, Nehalem. Once we get the rain, we'll probably be looking at some of the rivers like the Trask, the Nicanicum. Those are great options. Right now, if you stepped in the Nicanicum, the whole river would come up 6 inches just based on your footprint. There's like no water in the thing, but the rain will absolutely be a game changer in that regard. But for now, you can swing muddlers, you can skate like hippie stompers, stuff like that, and just pop them across the surface, and they will eat them, and they are there. So that's really good news, and it'll only get better as moisture increases. Deschutes trout fishing, been very, very good. Standard nymphs, you know, the Barry's girdle bug, all your PCPs, all your standard Euro nymphs, stuff like that as droppers. And then fall caddis pupa in particular, going to be a clutch fly to bring with you. I don't know if you saw our video, but you want to move those fall caddis pupas. Those suckers swim like they've been doing it for centuries. So move those fall caddis. And you can fish dry fall caddis in the evening. You just want to strip them, move them, pop them, give them motion on the top. Motion is key with fall caddis. Let's see, Metolius, be looking for the fall green drakes. Some people call them flavs, some people don't, whatever. They're a fall green drake, they're big, they're green, they're badass, and it makes fishing really good over there. So I'd be on the lookout for those like now. And especially these overcast days we're getting, expect great things on the Metolius. And there's still, you know, some golden stones, onesie twosies popping off. And, you know, Metolius gets an incredible fall caddis hatch. Pupas are going to be very important there as well as dries. They actually get 3 species of fall caddis, right? So it's a little bit more intense, excuse me, a little bit more intense on the Metolius than other rivers. Again, all your standard droppers, little stuff, all that. So anyway, I think that's it. I think we covered it, and hopefully we will see you out there. Bye.